So if you're a hairstylist in a highly competitive area, it can feel very daunting and kind of intimidating trying to figure out how exactly you would set yourself apart from the competition. But I do have some good news for you. It is actually very possible to make sure that you set yourself apart. I did it in Seattle, I did it in Orange County, I did it in very big cities. So I want to share with you how that's possible today. And the first thing I want to do is change your mindset a little bit around what competition actually means. Competition can be tough because there is a lot of different people to compete against, of course. But one thing you want to look at is why there is competition in the first place. Usually if there's a lot of salons, a lot of hairstylists, it's because there is a high demand for salons and hairstylists. And when there's a higher demand, that means that people are going to start getting more specific about what they want because there's an increased demand. There's lots of different stylists out there to choose from. Now they're going to start getting more specific about exactly what they want. And that's the key to setting yourself apart. So if you can change your mindset and not be intimidated, not be discouraged by the fact that there's a lot of competition, you're already going to be miles ahead from your competition, because what most stylists do when they realize that there is so many other hairstylists is they start to do a little bit more desperate maneuvers to try to get people in the door and to stay busy, like giving discounts and just kind of really devaluing their work a little bit in order to stay busy and keep their books full. So if you could just change your mindset a little bit around this, it's going to help you so much. Okay, the first and probably the most important thing that you could possibly do to help yourself stand out amongst other hairstylists in your area is to have custom services where you offer custom transformations. This is something that a lot of people are afraid to do. I, for example, specialize in lived-in color. So I always made all of my appointments completely custom, and I focused on doing lived-in color, promoting lived-in color. Because like I said before, if there's a lot of competition in the area and a lot of hairstylists providing services, that means that there's probably a lot of demand. So once there's a lot of demand, people start to get a little bit more picky about who they are going to go to. So if you can kind of narrow down and specialize in something that is highly desired and that clients are willing to pay more for, that's going to set yourself apart. So one of the big mistakes that I see hairstylists make a lot is they have like a standard menu. So they might have something that says like balayage 150 plus, and there's not really much more information there. It's just like, okay, we offer balayage, and then like the rest of the menu is haircuts, kids haircuts, men's haircuts, or gray coverage appointment. And all of the services are just very standard, and then it's just basically a price list. And then when it comes to actually setting the prices pretty much look like everybody else in the area, because a lot of times what stylists do is they just go and do a little bit of research about what other people are charging in the area, because naturally they think, okay, if I'm not too far above this or too far below this, I'll be able to fit right in. But think about that a little bit. If you are just fitting right in, you're also kind of camouflage. You're also kind of unnoticeable. You're also just not really standing out. And it's funny to me because so many hairstylists understand that they do need to set themselves apart in order to be more successful and have the clientele that they want, but yet they do all of these things that just feel a little bit more comfortable. And the reason I think this is because it does involve risk when you attempt to set yourself apart from the competition. And that can be really scary. You could totally fall flat on your face and it could not work. But the thing is, you're never going to find that new thing that works for you if you never actually take the risk. I mean, the reason the industry changes at all, like most of us are noticing that, wow, the industry has really changed in the past 10 years. The reason that happens is because people are willing to take risks, do things different than the status quo, and you could be a part of that. You just have to not be afraid. Now, what worked best for me is starting to implement and promote really customized lived-in color services. And I have a whole video about all the benefits of specializing you can check out right up here. But let me just illustrate really quickly what the difference is between offering standard service and offering custom services. So in a standard service, like I kind of talked about before, it would be balayage, so the service, balayage, and then the price, maybe 150, 180 with a little plus sign. There's not much information there. It's kind of typical. They don't really understand why the price is the way it is, but they're not really going to question the price that much because maybe it's kind of the same as everybody else in the area. But when they're looking at that, they're basically just looking at what the price is, because you haven't really offered any more information than that. So with a custom service, I did things like created menu items that actually made them visualize the end result. So they actually knew what kind of end result to expect when they chose this specific service. So I did things like make me blonde in one visit. That is something that really captured people's attention. And then for the price, it would be an hourly price. So I like to charge hourly. I have another video about why I charge hourly right up here you can check out as well. And then I would make sure to tell them everything that is included, what type of hair this is going to be best for, what they could expect out of their appointment, who this is actually possible for. I did all all of that stuff when I was describing what they were going to get in this service. And the key is I made it all inclusive. I made the price include all the color bowls I would need, all the toning, all the conditioning treatments I might have to do, all the haircuts I might have to do. I wanted to make services where they could come in and they don't have to worry about, oh, is she gonna upsell me on this conditioning treatment? How many color bowls am I gonna have to buy? Basically go to their appointment and know that I have it all taken care of. I fully thought through all of it and they don't have to worry about making all of those decisions. And clients really appreciated this because they knew that there's not gonna be any surprise charges at the end. It was a really high price up front. Like they would see that price and they never told me this, but they would probably be like, oh wow, that's a lot. But that higher price also made them think, well, gosh, why is she charging this much? And then all that information was there right in the menu. And it starts to make sense. Okay, so I don't have to pay anything extra. When at my other appointments, I never know exactly what the bill is going to be. And I'm not really sure about exactly what end result I'm going to get with just one appointment. So that is one of the keys to really making you stand out in your area. Most people do not take the time to really curate valuable offers that their clients really want and are willing to pay a lot more for. Now, I will say that most people are not going to want to do a big extravagant service like that, but that's okay because you don't need as many people in order to stay busy. One person is basically like booking 4 or 5. So that is what is so great about doing custom lived-in looks, because even though most people just do standard services, there's tons of stylists out there who are doing standard services. So you're going to stand out if you do those unique custom services. And even though not everybody is going to say yes to them and want to pay more prices and want to do these bigger services, there is a subset who really is looking for custom results like this. This might be maybe a college student who wants to get her hair done, maybe even for the first time, and she wants to do something really on trend. She wants exactly what she wants in the first visit. She doesn't want to wait multiple appointments in order to get what she wants. She's willing to pay because she knows it's going to last a really long time, and she knows that you're going to be able to get her to that end result, and she's excited and confident about choosing you. That's what makes people pay more. It doesn't necessarily have to be clientele with a super high income level. So there's always going to be a subset of people who are willing to do these custom services, and they are just the best clients. I can't even tell you how much better it is to take people who actually really care about the end results and actually invest their money. Because when people don't invest their money in something and they're just trying to get the cheapest service, they are just not the best clients. They're not invested in you. They're not invested in your growth. They're not invested in actually taking care of their hair. There's just so many reasons why it's so much more fulfilling to take people who really want a desired end result and being able to give it to them and make them so happy. It is just one of the best feelings as a hairstylist. So I'm gonna make you a promise right now. If you can just change that one thing, reordering your menu and restructuring it to give value-driven offers, you are gonna stand out so much in your area. So the other thing that you wanna focus on doing is actually building a personal brand. And the reason why this is so important is because if you can actually build a personal brand, you're not just somebody who does hair, but you actually have a personal brand. Just hearing your name will invoke feelings and just invoke an impression about you without you having to do so much advertising and promotion. And the thing that's a little bit different about people who have an established brand is that average stylists, they usually have a pretty diverse clientele. They pretty much do everything, and they have like a lower end price or just average prices, and they're able to get a lot of clients. People who build a brand and specialize, they are going to take less clients, but the clients are always much higher quality and help them feel a little bit more fulfilled throughout their career because they're actually end results driven, like I talked about before. The clientele is also just 10 times more reliable because they become loyal to you because you're able to just deliver so much more value than what an average stylist can deliver, because they're so much more focused on getting as many people in the door as they can, not necessarily on making sure they have enough time needed to get to the exact end result in just a single visit. One of my favorite quotes about this idea is, don't be someone that 10 out of 10 people like, be somebody that 7 out of 10 people love. That means that 3 people could absolutely hate what you do, think you're too expensive, and think, you know, what you do is just ridiculous and overkill. But the people who do come to you love you. And that is the key right there to just enjoying your career, paying higher prices, having a higher quality clientele, and of course, standing out in your area. So right now, let me give you a key ingredient to successful branding so that you can be successful in your own brand creation if that's something that you want to really pursue right now. The first thing that you want to come up with is what's called a unique value proposition. What this is basically a statement that conveys exactly what you provide to clients, what your unique position in the marketplace is, how you're different from other hairstylists, hairstylist and what problems you uniquely solve for your clients. We're getting a little bit more deeper into kind of marketing philosophies and principles, so if that's too much for you, if this is too deep, let me know in the comments, but also if you're enjoying this, let me know in the comments as well. So to create your unique value proposition, you want this to be a very concise statement, and it's going to basically be a guiding principle through all of your marketing endeavors. But you're gonna need to kind of consolidate some information in order to come up with it. So the first thing you wanna do is define your target audience. What's their age group? What do they want to get done at the salon? What is their lifestyle like? Things like that. So number one is define your target audience. The second thing that you wanna do is define the key problems that you solve for that target audience. So maybe your target clientele just really hates how quickly their hair grows out. So the problem that you solve is I help clients get natural results that don't grow out so quickly, and they can actually enjoy their look for months on end. Then you're gonna wanna list out all the benefits of what you provide are. So if you're doing lived-in color, again, those benefits would be, I can go 6 months to a year between the appointments. I actually can get exactly what I want in one visit. I don't have to come in multiple times just to get to that end result. List all those benefits out. So you're going to take all of this information and then you're going to boil it down into a concise statement, and that's gonna serve as your unique value proposition. Because once you know who exactly you're speaking to and why, so many other problems with marketing just become very obvious to overcome. For example, posting on Instagram, you'll never wonder what to post if you have this unique value proposition in place. You'll never feel like you have to bargain with potential clients when you have this unique value proposition in place. Clients will feel like you are more established and you are more professional if you have this unique value proposition in place. They won't feel like you are somebody that can be pushed around with your pricing because you have this solidified and you have a foundation for what you're doing that can be wavered. So if you actually follow the steps of creating this little value proposition, I want to hear what it is in the comments. And if you'd like to run it by me, let me know and I'll give you some feedback in the comments. So once you've started to establish a brand by doing just some of the simple steps that we talked about before, the next thing that you have to do is create brand awareness. People need to be aware of your brand. They need to know about your brand. Your brand needs to be constantly in the mouths of everybody in your community. And I'm going to share with you how to do that right now as well. So you've heard me talk about this so many times before, but the best way to create buzz in your community is to be working on models constantly. There's a few reasons for this. Number one is it gets you connected with different people in your community. The more people that you are in contact with, the more people they are in contact with, and they can spread the word about you. And of course, another one of the big ones is something that we all have to do as hairstylists is be content creators. We have to be coming up with content to post in order to create buzzes around what we're doing over the internet and then also locally. So what Models does is it helps you to always have something to post and high quality content to post. I mean, I don't know about you, but there's been so many times where I tried to just make taking pictures of my clients and posting them my main strategy for social media. And I would get so frustrated because it would be dark by the time I finished. I couldn't get great pictures of it. And it was just so frustrating and it just never looked good. It never looked like something I wanted to put out there to the world. So let me know if that's ever happened to you in the comments, but working on Models just really solved that for me. And it just was never a wasted effort. Even though it feels like a lot of effort to take somebody outside of work, it just makes you feel so much more proud of what you're putting out there for promotion. Another thing that this does is, of course, these models are going to get compliments on their hair. If you're doing all of these details, you're doing customized work, they're going to have something that most of their friends are really jealous of. So they're going to be talking about it to their friends. Those friends are going to at least start to become interested in what you're doing. Maybe they're not ready to spend more money or commit to a service like this yet, but you're creating that buzz and you're creating those touch points, and eventually some of those people are going to book. And again, you don't need that many. But the important thing is now you're prepared with something unique to offer anybody who's interested, because we did those steps that we talked about earlier in the video. And the other most underrated benefit that working on Models gives you is that really tailored and structured practice that everybody needs if they want to specialize in lived-in color. So many stylists want to specialize in lived-in color. They want to offer lived-in color, but they are not confident. They really just need more practice. So doing the Models serves all these benefits, and that's why I'm always stressing that people need to be doing this at least 1 to 2 times a week. And that leads me to my next point of how you're going to separate yourself from others in your area, and that is having a specific mastery over a skill. Before you can do any of the things we talked about, build a brand, promote yourself, you need to be able to have a really high level of mastery over a highly desired skill. If you want to be offered that make me blonde in one visit service, you need to be able to back it up with your skill. And honestly, you can learn so much by just practicing on your own. Education is so great, but it can't be the only thing that you do in order to try to grow and become confident. In fact, I think maybe education should be about 20% of your study, and then 80% should be just practicing in a structured way consistently. Because this is the only way that you actually master your education, you actually own your education, and you don't feel like you have to just ask everybody for help all the time. Anytime like somebody wants something slightly different than what you did before, or wants a new tone, or like a new face framing becomes popular, you don't feel like you have to ask so many people around you just to be able to accomplish this. You feel confident because you've done your own practice. You've already had experience like testing different things out. And by the way, if mastering lived-in color is something that you are really wanting to do right now and you want to do it quickly and in a structured way, you can check out my online education library. That's just full of a bunch of different tutorials. All of the education that I offer is in this bundle, which I call my education library. So it's got tutorials, you'll learn marketing, you'll learn business, you'll learn the whole process, pricing. I even have a pricing calculator in there, so that can help you just be a little more confident with that. But everything you need to be able to specialize and start offering lived-in color services and be confident with it is in that education library, and you can check that out in the link in the description below. But just to get you started, what I would do is start with creating 3 amazing offers, and then I would take a class or 2 in the specific techniques that you need in order to master the skills needed to provide those 3 offers. And then what you're gonna do is practice until you cannot fail, until no more issues come up that just kind of blindside you. Just keep practicing in a structured way, keep moving forward, analyzing your results, testing different things out. When I first realized that I wanted to specialize in lived-in color, I kind of structured my practice in a few different categories. So I would look at the main categories that people are asking for, like brunettes, super bright blondes, really soft face framing, warmer tones, cooler tones, and I would actually schedule out days that I was going to practice each one. I probably practiced about 20 times before I started to feel really confident that no matter who walked in, I would be able to have a solution for them that they were gonna be super happy with. I just wanna say too that if you are that hairstylist who sees a price point like $100 an hour and you're like, oh my gosh, that's price gouging people, like I can't do that, I would feel so guilty charging that, it's simply because you aren't confident with the skill yet. So if you are wanting to specialize in lived-in color and you're wanting to stand out in your area and you just don't feel confident, you're going to feel squeamish about charging prices like that. So what's the key? It's to practice and just become confident. There's so many hairstylists out there who are charging that much, no problem, who are charging even more than that with no problems. And the key is they're very confident in what they are offering to people. So if you're ready to start mastering lived-in color, getting really good and making sure that you are the go-to hairstylist in your area so nobody else wants to go anywhere else for lived-in color, I would love to see you inside my education library where you're going to get all of the tutorials that you need to be successful with this. Of course, all of the marketing and business skills you need. You get personal interactions with me as well. It's extremely affordable and I will help guide you through the entire process. You can ask me as many questions as you want. We talk face to face too. Also, make sure you hit the notification bell on this video because my next series is going to be all about reverse balayage, and I'm going to give you a bunch of tips for that because it's so popular right now. And I'm also going to just help you avoid all the common pitfalls like, you know, splotchiness in your lowlights, or them just like not showing up at all, or the color being muddy. I'm gonna help you with all of that in my next series, so make sure to hit the notification bell, and it's going to be a playlist on the screen right now as soon as it comes out. My name is Lauren, you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so much. I will see you in the next video.